Hello, Aries. How are you? This is Lee at Fresh Astrology. And before we get going and just kind of seeing if people want to hop on here, this is for those of you watching this later, this is a streamed recording. So it means I did this live. So occasionally, this is really fun for me, first of all, to talk to you guys. This is way more fun. This is why I like coaching, because I can talk to people. It's why I do this. So I may be talking to people and reading comments over here so that I can answer if I can. So try to catch me live when I do this. I know I don't announce it, but if you see, I don't know what kind of notification you guys receive, but try to look for it and show up, because I'm happy to answer your concerns. Let me know what's going on for you, or you could just share with other people, because I think, well, I know, I don't just think that when people share their stories here or anywhere for that matter, it really helps others. Like, somebody may not actually directly like or comment on your story or what you say or the question you ask, but what you say and ask may well benefit many. I think it probably does in my experience. So announcements, my website has changed. It's no longer, for like 11, 12 years, I've been at freshastrology.com. It was a very antiquated website. And I finally merged the astrology with my coaching website. And it's at leesears.com. I put in the description below, you've got the web address. So all you have to do is look underneath the video and click the arrow to expand if you can't see it. But the address is there to my website and to also the company I have, Camille. We do something slightly different. Camille is, we rebranded from Tribe. So for those of you who knew about Tribe, Camille is a rebranded version of that. We rebranded for a variety of reasons. It was a business decision, mostly because we noticed there was another business very similar that really used the word tribe heavily, and we didn't want to get any legal issues with that, which is smart. You guys have to pay attention if you're starting a company, really do your due diligence, figuring out, how you're going to name yourself. What's interesting is this other business that was very similar to ours, that the actual business name was not Tribe, but the way they branded and marketed themselves, they used that word so heavily that we felt we were kind of in murky water there. And also, the word tribe is a little tricky. Just for you guys thinking about your own branding and the word tribe, think carefully also about the symbolism of the words you use. The more we thought about it, and it took a while for it to kind of sink in, because we knew about this in the beginning, but we didn't think it was a big deal. But then the more we thought about it, we thought, well, tribe is a little problematic for some people, because tribalism is not always a great thing. And so we just were on kind of a funny line with that word. And so we decided to rebrand to Camille, which is actually my name, Mimi's name, and Carolyn's name all mashed together in one big word, Camille. But Camille exists to help women who are in transition from one thing to the next, like empty nest, or changing jobs, or starting a company, or just, trying to change their life, a woman who wants to change her life and kind of transition to a new life. We exist for that population and have some courses that are out now to help people do that. So you can find both those addresses below. But at leesears.com, I have a membership lounge that you might want to know about. It's like a smaller version of YouTube, but it's private. And I do the readings, the forecasts there first. I've got half of 2020 already there. And, November's already up there. And then I do weekly forecasts. And from the membership population, each month I'll choose someone to do a free reading. And then we broadcast that inside there. And then I do a little bit of an astrology instruction there too. So go check it out, and we'd love to have you there. So Aries. Let's get to work here. I think for you, there's some sign. I mean, I think for all signs is a really interesting month. Some signs I'm really excited by what I see. I think, oh, good. This just looks so great for you. I mean, you've got Jupiter approaching the very tip top of your chart, approaching your midheaven. That I've never seen that with the people I work with my family, with my friends, with me. I've never seen it be negative. I'm sure it can be, just to be honest. But I think for the people who are attracted to my channel, who tend to watch me, because it depends on your actions. But I think the people attracted to me are kind of on my wavelength. I just think it's most likely good for you. Plus, you get, in addition to Jupiter at the top of your chart, you get this nice Venus-Jupiter conjunction coming up at the end of the month, which we'll talk about. But it's just pretty much as good as it gets. It's a pretty great lineup for you. So to me, that's exciting. I know, some Aries, and I think it's fun for all of you. And it can mean different things. Like in your relationship world, it might mean one thing. In your career, it might mean another. If you're trying to get into a university or graduate with a degree, maybe you're one of those December graduates. My oldest daughter did that last year. She graduated in December. So maybe that's you. So we'll talk about that. That comes up later in the month. I did more transits in the membership lounge, but I'm going to do 4 here. But because this is an open forum, I'm hanging out a little bit longer to see if you guys have questions. But let's start with Mars square Pluto on November 5th. So for you, Mars is your patron planet. And it's hanging out in the 7th house of Libra. Libra is what rules it rules the 7th house. Your chart is like the poster child for the rest of the zodiac. So Libra rules. You rule the 1st house always for everybody, kind of universally. And Libra rules your 7th house of relationships. And so you have both Juno and Mars here. Mars means this is where your energy is going. And it could go there for a variety of reasons. It also may say something about your partner. So it depends on what your partner is going through, what their personality is. In some cases, it could show an angry partner or the two of you needing to, work some things out. It doesn't have to go in an angry direction. Mars is just energy. So what you want to do is maximize that energy to do what you want to do with your relationships, with your partnerships. So if you're in sales, you'd want to be looking at, finding partnerships, clients. And this is for a bigger kind of sale. It's not so much like the checkout register kind of sale, but this is for the bigger sales deal. Like if you're in real estate sales or, I don't know, any kind of sales where you sell something and it's a larger amount of money, like a client who would be an ongoing client. This is a time when you may be pouring a lot of energy toward that and actually finding it. If there's a challenge here, because it is square to Pluto and Saturn up in your 10th house, it could be that for some of you, a love relationship partner, like a spouse or a long-term partner, may be a little critical of the time you spend at work, or may feel like your job overshadows the relationship. It's a very common, theme in relationships, where your work could pull you away from the partnership, and there could be some. It may not be that they're mad at you or there's a fight or anything, but it may just be that you're torn between, what you do with others, important people in your life and your larger goals in your career, because a lot of things are happening for you right now. Big lucky things for many of you. Some of you are about to take on a big leadership position. Some of you are about to maybe get a new job that's really like it's a much bigger job, more opportunity, more money for sure. Some of you, if you've got your own company, this could really show more success, financial success. There are just so many things lining up here that show that. So there's just so much potential here for you. So again, the challenge would be really like just kind of putting all your energy into building your partnerships, maybe in business, so that you have that big success. Maybe, doing some handshake deals where you accept a position. That could be what it is. And it could just feel like sometimes when you're interviewing for a job, applying for a job, you've also got your day job to still do. And there could be some tension and in terms of how you spend your time once again. But I don't think it's a bad thing. Given everything else that's going on in your chart, I don't think this is a bad thing at all. I just think it's just something it's like a juggling thing you have to do. Moving on to that full moon on the 12th. So that's happening, again, this is across, there's so much here about career and money. That's happening across the second and eighth house is the second and eighth houses, or two houses. And so it can be fruition, like something coming to fruition, which would, again, indicate that kind of harvest where you get the fruits of your labor. That definitely goes into like the overall theme of your chart this month and over the coming months. So that certainly makes sense to me. So for all your effort going into finding clients or partnerships, you get the fruit of your effort. For some of you, it's some things coming to light, some realizations around work and money. So some big aha moments about, your finances, and maybe looking, sometimes it's like the equation of how many hours am I working to get $2 or how many hours am I working and I'm getting like unlimited dollars. See, because some people work a 4-hour work week and make millions, and then some people work really, really hard all the time, and it's like, I don't know if this is worth it. So you may have some big aha moments. And then also some things could be coming to completion. So for those of you who are winding down one position or job or career and moving on to something else, then I think it's that. It's bigger for you this month than for other people. I haven't thought much of this full moon in terms of it being a big deal. It depends on the sign, but I was just thinking this full moon is just like a typical full moon, it just hits a certain way. But for your sign, I think it's a bigger deal in a good way. So let's move on to that Venus and Jupiter conjunction on November 24th. I mean, it's just right there on it's just beautiful. So I just think some really nice things are happening for you, possibly in an area of real estate for some. Possibly getting funding to launch. Sometimes if you're starting a new business, you need to go out and get funding. If you're going to purchase something big, you get loans. But it's a bigger deal. It's not like getting a loan for a car. It's a bigger deal. So it's like kind of like a once in a lifetime sort of thing that you're doing here in your career. And things may come together very quickly and suddenly. You may not expect things to fall into place as quickly as they do. You may be scrambling to put money together to do something, or scrambling behind the scenes to make the money work, is kind of the way it comes into my brain. But a very nice event on the 24th of November. Then on the 26th, we have the new moon. And again, it's just all kind of happening up in the same area. So in this ninth house, because technically the Jupiter-Venus conjunction is in your ninth house, but it's 2 degrees in range of the midheaven, so it's there. But also at the very beginning of your ninth house, they're like bookends here, kind of in reverse. But at the beginning of, the threshold of the ninth house is where the new moon happens. And it's though the energy is coming out of the eighth house. So it makes me think of loans, pulling money together, making all the financial stuff work. So sometimes in terms of getting a job, you're back behind the scenes negotiating for the salary you want, the bonus structure you want, whatever. And then there's a new moon symbolizing something about all the financial pieces coming together, equals a new start for you in the world. And so for some of you, it's money to go to school. It could be for a child too, to go to school. Maybe it's for real estate. Maybe it's to take a job in a foreign country. Maybe it could just be anything under the sun, really. But it's a good time to launch a product or a business. So toward the end of November, after the Mercury retrograde, is a better time, an interesting time to launch something. So it's a big month for you guys. Let me see if anybody's asked questions. Nope, you guys are quiet. I see people here, but nobody's asking questions. And maybe it's because you guys are like, yeah, I've got a really good month coming up. So people aren't as worried. But yeah, these are interesting times for you. It's just a lot of good, I think. Does that mean every single thing in your life is good? Does it mean every single day is good? No, we still have challenging days. There's still stuff going on around us, but you guys are sitting pretty right now. You're looking pretty good. So have a wonderful month. I'm excited for you. I know, as I said, I know a lot of Aries, and I'm excited for them. So, what if I have an Aries midheaven? Oh, somebody asked this in, hi, Karen. So Love Triber, I think, says, what if I have an Aries midheaven? So a Pisces midheaven asked this in the Pisces reading. So it is possible to read a chart that way, where you say, well, I have Aries and, I don't know if it's your ninth house or 10th house, or if it's just like sitting directly over your midheaven, and then trying to extrapolate from an Aries reading, what's going on in that part of your chart. You can kind of do it, but it's a little more complex than that. Aries midheaven, what's more relevant for you, depending on where it's falling, like if it's more in the ninth house or more in the 10th house, the most interesting thing is what's happened with Uranus leaving your sign, or leaving the sign of Aries and going into Taurus. So that's the more interesting, easier thing to talk about for you with an Aries midheaven. But it is possible to consider a chart the way you're thinking about it right now. It's harder, it's more complex to get into here, and I don't want to, ninth house. Okay, thank you. So the person who's asked this question says that Aries is skewing more toward the ninth house. So I think for you, it's far more accurate and interesting to consider what's happening with Uranus, which is really, I would think, be in your 10th house. And what it's been doing, it's changed direction for sure, because, it's such a big change for a planet like Uranus to go from one sign to another sign, even in the same house or area of the chart. It's such a major energy shift. So I guess my question for you would be like, are you planning to change careers? Have you just changed careers? Have you been building up to that? Are you trying to go from a corporate job to owning a company, or vice versa? Or are you looking for a job? Jupiter is in the 10th house. So when you say Jupiter's in the 10th house, is that by birth? Because Jupiter wouldn't be there now. Yeah, natal chart. Okay. Yeah, so it's a big career year for you. So it probably sounds, when you listen to Aries, it probably sounds like there's a lot of like um, overlap, I guess I want to say. Jupiter and Taurus. That's such a lovely place. Like, you're kind of blessed to have Jupiter and Taurus. So, this person, Love Triber, isn't an Aries, but is looking at where Aries hits his or her chart. And so, and wondering if you can extrapolate from an Aries reading something into that area of the chart. And you can. It's just a little, there's a little subtlety there and a little complexity to it, but you can do that. I just don't want, like, you could drive yourself crazy with the details of astrology. So even though I've done it kind of as a game, as a puzzle, and I've worked it out, and it can be surprisingly accurate if you do it in a very methodical way. But I don't know. I just don't want anybody to drive themselves crazy listening to every single, yeah, okay, listening to every single sign and just trying to make sense of all that is a lot to just stick in your head and try to absorb. So, but it can be done. So any other questions, guys, before I go? You guys just have it pretty good. And even Love Triber here with Jupiter in the 10th and Uranus, you've got some good stuff headed your way, I would think. Definitely changes. So I would be preparing. It seems like maybe you've already had some changes. I would venture that guess, but I would be prepared for continuing change in that area of the chart. But let me know what's happened for you guys. What's going on? What does it feel like to be you? I'm thinking it's feeling pretty good for many of you. So have a wonderful month. Take care.